This particular machine is called a drill press, and it's a fairly simple machine to use. You put a bit into this contraption down here, and you pull the lever and it drills a hole. Let me explain some of the parts. We have our lever. This is called the chuck. This is a keyless chuck, this particular model. Some older models will have what's called a key, so you're going to be looking for one of these to be able to put it in and loosen or tighten the chuck on the bit. This one, we hold the top, unscrew the bottom, or tighten it back up, and then you just hand tighten and you're good to go. We have our on-off switch right in the front. This model again has a laser system, which you can see right there, and it has a light, an LED light if you need it. So they're both available. On the left side, we have some stops. So I can move the top one down to keep me from going any lower, or I can move the bottom one up so it doesn't retract any higher. Both are available for that. For a drill press, there are an immense amount of different bits. We have plug cutter bits, we have multi-spur bits, spade bits, we have twist drill bits with a brad point, we have Forstner bits, we even have bits that are square, a chiseling bit that'll make a square hole. But the last one we're going to focus on is called a twist drill bit. So this is the twist drill bit, and to put it in, we come up to the machine, and remember, hold the top and unscrew the bottom until it fits in there. So keep going until there are 3 teeth in there that squeeze the bit. So we keep opening it, and those teeth will retract and open up. There we go. Once it's in, we're going to put it all the way in, pull it out about 1/4 of an inch, and then tighten it back up. And the reason for that is if we bottom out the bit all the way into the chuck and then try to tighten it, those fingers are trying to grab the bit and pull it up, but it's already at the top and it can't go anywhere. So by giving it a little bit of space, you're allowing it to tighten even better, more firmly on that bit, and it's a lot safer. There's a few safety techniques that we need to cover when you're ready to drill a hole. Turning it on is pulling out this knob straight out, and you want to cut all the way through. Okay, it's as simple as that. But there are some things you need to remember. First of all, you see that I have a board on the table of the drill press. The idea, this is called a backing board, and it's there because as I drill through the hole, the last little 1/16 of an inch on this piece of wood is going to want to burst out. If there's nothing underneath, if I have nothing but a hole under it, then there's nothing holding that little bit of wood in there as I cut. So if I cut quickly without anything under it, so I'm moving my backing board so there's going to be an empty space and cut through, you can see that there's quite a bit more tear out. These little pieces came off, and that leaves a hole that doesn't look very good. To get a nice sharp hole, find a spot without any hole in it already and make a nice even cut. Then when you come out, you have a nice clean drilled hole. As you're cutting holes in your board, this corkscrew shape of the twist drill bit is going to be trying to eject sawdust from the hole, and that's a good thing. We don't want it to clog up with sawdust. We need it to get out of the hole so it doesn't burn. However, that action also means that it's trying to lift the board off the table. When that happens, should that happen, if you don't have a good grip on it or your grip is way too far away, it's going to lift. So let's show you what happens. We go a little too fast perhaps, it lifts, and it does that. Now I've got a good grip because I knew it was going to happen. But if it, don't freak out, keep your grip and just push it back down on the table. Now while I'm safe, it's not spinning around, you can see that the hole is not circular and there's a lot of tear out. So it kind of ruined the piece. However, you kept your grip. So how far away should you hold? About 3 to 4 inches here. Honestly, the closer it is, the better. 3 or 4 inches. I don't want to be too close. I don't want to touch these bits. Some of the drill bits I showed you could really mess you up if you touched it. But the farther away you hold your grip, the more likely, there's less pressure directly here, the more likely it's going to lift up. So you want to keep your hand nice and close to the bit as you're cutting so that when you go through, it goes through and doesn't lift, doesn't jerk. Now that I know the bit is always going to want to lift this off, what if I have a tiny little piece that I'm afraid it's going to lose I'm going to lose my grip. Well, what you're going to do is grab a clamp, clamp it onto the piece. Then I can hold the clamp as I'm cutting. So I'm moving my hand not only outside of that 3 or 4 inches, but now I have something more solid to hold. So what happens if you do lose your grip? Well, let's demonstrate. You'll go through and it'll start to lift, and then you let go and off it goes. So here we go, off it goes. Now notice that I'm not lifting the blade, the bit, out of the board. I don't want to lift it up, because if this moves its way down, it is going to be flung into the room and you don't know where it's going to go. Never go get this board, because it's going to hit a knuckle, either your finger or your thumb knuckle, and you won't get it. You're just going to injure yourself. So as soon as this happens, you know it's spinning, you've lost control, calm down, keep the bit down, and turn off the machine as quick as you can think about it. Now I raise it up and I basically unscrew the board from the bit. Now it is a little bit chewed up, but at least you're safe, your hands are safe, and then you can cut again. If you're drilling into a long piece of wood, especially in the ends, we don't want it to spin into the user. Now this spins, if I look down, it spins clockwise. If it's on the right and I lose my grip, it's going to spin into me. However, if it's on the left, it's going to spin into the machine and stop when it hits the pole in the back. Also, the crank is on this side of the machine, right here. And I do not ever want to cross my hands. So if I'm over here, my right hand is holding, now my left is using the crank, my arms are crossed, that's bad form. So always have long boards to the left, so now I can use my right hand, and if I lose contact or grip, it's going to hit the machine, not me.